We're on time, 101. Good. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the meeting of the Council-Controlled Organisations and Economic Development Committee this day, 15th of April. Welcome the committee members, welcome councillors, and also the other people attending today. Thank you very much. We'd go first to the opening karakia. I'll ask Mayor Andrew just to.
Right. Me ingoa tātou, e te atua, tēnei mātou, au mema kua poti te hapori o Wanganui. Arahina I a mātou ki te wakatau na wakatonga pai mō te rohi mō nā tangata katoa. Kia piki ai te ora o te hapori me nā iwi katoa o Wanganui. Haumie, huie, tae kia. Let us pray. Dear God, here I am. Here we are, your elected members of Wanganui. Guide us to make good decisions for the district, for all people, to uplift the community and all peoples of Wanganui. Bring forth unity. It is done.
Thank you, Mayor Andrew. Next item on the agenda is apologies. We've got Deputy Mayor Helen Craig, who's overseas, and Councillor Kate Joblin, who's just outside there dealing with a technical issue for lateness. She'll be joining us very shortly. And Jenny is, Councillor Jenny is also doing her tech as well. So, just to invite yes, can we just have a mover of that? Thank you, Andrew. Seconder? Thank you, Linda. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? Motion is carried. Thank you. We'll go to item number 3, declarations of interest. I just provide the opportunity for anybody who wants to make a declaration of interest. There being none, we will just note that. Thank you. And moving now to the confirmation of the minutes of the 25th of February of 2025. First, I'll just ask, of the committee, are there any comments, corrections that anyone would like to make on the minutes? Thank you. There being none, I'll ask for a mover. Thanks, Linda. A seconder. Thanks, Andrew. All those in favour? Those against? Thank you. The motion is carried. So, we now have moved to item 5.1, and I'll ask Caroline and Lucy just to come forward. Thank you. I'll leave it to you now. I'll hand over to you just to talk through your report.
Oh well, kia ora everybody. Nice to see you all. The report in this section is fairly straightforward and just really an update on our transition and some of our metrics, which you will have seen in the paper report. So I guess the key highlights are that the properties, the 3 properties at Airport Road, Liverpool Street and Hillside Terrace have been transferred to council effective a couple of weeks ago, 1st of April. So that's been something that we've been working on for a little while, but taking advice from the council end in particular around just the form that we did that in. So that's happened now, and which means that council is now will be getting lease payments from NZICPA in relation to those properties. We purchased an additional twin-engine DA42 aircraft, which was really sorely needed for NZICPA's business. They were down to 1, and so that was sort of had the potential to hold them back. So it's been really great to be able to do that. So that came out of that the funding envelope that was approved. So super helpful. We keep getting reporting on a weekly basis, but we're looking to lengthen out that time frame of the reporting. We know that the information's there if we need it more frequently, but that's coming through to David Langford and to the independents here and to Holdings. So that's good. The financial results of for March were not quite as favourable as last month, but that's really due to the purchase of the additional aircraft. So there's some depreciation in there, which has really led to that result. And we're just continuing, as you would expect, to monitor things really closely. And that's just going to continue to be tight as NZI CPA moves into hopefully profitability. And since the last meeting, we've had a number of financial statements published on Council's website, so it's been really great to have had some of those earlier audits ticked off and to be able to publish those because, I mean, the aim from our perspective is to be as transparent as we possibly can be. From the audit perspective, I've just been in touch with the auditor this morning, and he's really hopeful to have the FY23 audit signed off very, very soon. And 24 not too far behind. We have heard that before, so I'm sorry to be coming back with a similar message, but they've got some things that they want to work through just to make sure that everything is in line, but we're expecting that to be really close. You will have seen the performance metrics update in the table at the back of our report. Happy to answer any questions, and as you can probably see, we've got the chairs and Jared from NZICPA is in India at the moment, so we've got Matt as the chair here to speak to NZICPA, and we've got Peter and Michael both here from GasNet to speak to the GasNet business. So that's probably a quick run-through summary, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or clarifications that anyone might have before we discuss the matter? Open for discussion. All right. If there are none, yeah, Kate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. In that case, we will. I'll move that the resolution on the board that the Council-controlled Organisation Economic Development Committee receive the report from Whanganui District Holdings, Council Holdings Limited, quarterly report to the CCO and ED Committee of April 2025. Do I have a seconder? Thanks, Kate. All those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Carried. The motion is. Thank you. We'll go to item number 5.2. I'll just ask you to come forward. GasNet. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Michael.
I just scratched myself. Yeah, nice to be back in here. Haven't been here for a while. So GasNet report. Happy to say GasNet's tracking pretty well. Just a couple of sort of measures we use. Safety. We've had no LTIs or injuries for over 2 years now, which is a pretty remarkable performance considering we do some heavy work out in the open. An excellent performance there. Perhaps more interest. This morning we've just had a session with some of the CCO committee talking about asset management, how we control that, how we make decisions on investing our capital and looking after the network. If there's any questions on that, we're happy to take them after I've finished giving you this bit. Michael can give you detail on that. For financial performance this year, we're running a bit ahead of our projected profit, which is good, of course, and we're confident that will be sustained through to the end of the financial year. Our dividends will be paying about 1.8 million this year. We've still got one dividend to go, and we're pretty confident we can pay what we've promised. For next year, we have some capital projects lined up. There's the usual maintenance of the network, which swallows around about $1 million a year. We also have some new investment stuff potentially in the metering business, which will be something one of our customers is demanding or requiring. They're going to go to smart metering for the gas. Oops, gee, I'm bleeding away here. We've had a number of external mandatory external reviews lately on technical issues and some governance type stuff or audit things. I'm happy to say we've got a 100% clean bill of health and compliments from the auditors on how the company's being run. Kudos to Michael here for that. He's running a very good ship. Some new projects we're looking at. You may be aware of the blended hydrogen to gas into natural gas project going on down in Te Horo. First Gas are running that. They've got 16 houses. They're going to run on a blend of 15% hydrogen. See how that works. Not quite underway yet, but we are a financial contributor to this test, looking at the longer term for what might happen as the gas supply changes. So we're just at the moment waiting to see how that works. We're also looking at the viability of the moment of a solar project, which will be done along with the council, supplying largely our own electricity to the wastewater plant. We'll talk a bit more about the detail of that in the public excluded session, because there's some certain details we wouldn't want to be announcing just yet. That's about it for me. If you've got any questions or anything, happy to take them.
Yeah, Councillor Ross.
Yeah. Sorry. Back to the health and safety, and I commend you that you've only had one accident. I hope that's not it on your hand there. The and you are going to report it. But why, if you could just expand on it a little, that you had, a number of them in the previous year and then none this year. What is that due to?
No, I said we haven't for 2 years. That's as far as I look back. It was 2 years we have been lost time incident free or any medical treatment case free. We have had none. We've had people tripping over a mat or banging into something, but we've had, in terms of personal harm, the last 2 years we've had none. It may be longer than that. That's the data I was immediately available to me was 2 years.
And is that attributable to the fact that you have increased your emphasis on health and safety?
Michael, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, we're quite. That's one of our main what we pay attention to at GasNet. So we have a monthly staff meeting that goes through all the incidents. That's both public and within the company. So we have a incident register, and the group that is representative of management right through to the technicians. They go through that line by line and look at learnings and what we can change. It's the whole, let's eliminate what we can. There's some things we have to control, especially when it comes around to dealings with the public, but it's quite a concise, and this is what report is driven off. We've got a database that is critically analysed every month. If there was a serious incident, we would do it on a daily basis. We've also got in place processes around when we have staff on call-outs, so they're monitored by the Alarm Watch. So if they don't respond in a certain time, then Alarm Watch will ring them, and if they don't get a response, then we have a process around responding to that as well. So there's lots of processes and controls in place so we can keep our staff safe.
It's great news. One quick question though, and it might be just a statistical anomaly, but in your graphs under injury analysis, rolling 24 months, 16.7% seems to pop up just everywhere in there. Can you, because it's mechanism of injury, bodily location of injury, nature of industry.
It's because we've got so few, and it's rounded. There's not much of a divisor, so that's why it does come through. You'll see there's a blanked out section there that's just greyed out. There's actually some KPIs that I actually don't understand that we blank out that's been written, and when I look into them, they don't make any sense. So we've actually put in a ticket with the people that developed this, so they have to explain to us what those mean, and they haven't been able to do that, so that's why we blank it out. But we have checked all the other calculations, and we do it quite regularly.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will double check that again though, but I've done it a couple of times.
Thank you. We'll go to Councillor Kate.
Thank you. Thanks for the report and the good work that you all do. Thank you for including the comparisons, the 2023 comparisons, I think, with other providers at a high level, and with my understanding of the industry doesn't tell me a whole lot. But what does it tell you?
Well, we look at our one quite thoroughly. It is a summary, so it does actually summarise a lot of what we do. We break it down into a bit more detail. So we do look at it to make sure the Commerce Commission is reporting it accurately, because they have not done it in previous years. But it is quite a nice little dashboard that we can show people.
Yes, definitely. What does it tell you about your competitors?
I suppose what we look at is our KPIs around reliability and safety of the network, and we are comparable, if not one of the leaders on those, especially around responding to incidents, which is around safety, and we're very quick at that in Wanganui. We do have the benefit of having a relatively small travel time, so we can get to one side of Wanganui to the other to actually deal with those quite quickly, and all our technicians live locally. We do also keep an eye on the age of our network to make sure that the older parts are well maintained, and also we do a lot of surveying on the older parts to make sure we don't have any leaks. So there's a number of KPIs that we look at, and they're not always comparable with some of the bigger networks, because we've got a slight advantage over other networks, and sometimes a slight disadvantage because of the age of our network.
Right, but even so, we managed to post 100% of emergencies responded to within 1 hour.
Yes. Our normal response time is about 20 minutes.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Thank you.
Mayor Andrew.
Look, thanks for the report. This is exactly what we want to see, this kind of information, so I appreciate that. I'm thinking about reliability of the network, and you've alluded on that in the previous question. If I've got my numbers right, there's about 700 kilometres of pipes that GasNet have, and the age between 28 and 44 years, that seems quite old. You're checking for leaks and that kind of thing, and I know there's some issues in places, I think, but are you confident about your replacement and renewals plan?
Absolutely. So what we do as part of the asset management plan and the budgeting process each year, the engineers and the technicians look at historical leaks and new leaks, and then they identify parts of the network we believe need capital expenditure, because it's more economic to replace that part of the network rather than continue to fix leaks. So there's that balance between preventative maintenance and replacement, and we don't say to the team you're constrained to X amount of dollars. We just say, given what we know about the network, what are our priorities, and we need to come up with a list of what we can achieve in the next 12 months to maintain the reliability and safety of the network.
Okay, great, thank you.
I saw you had the button on before, Councillor Mo. Are there any other questions that anyone has? Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Michael. And we'll hear from you later. I'd like to put the motion forward that the Council-controlled Organisation and Economic Development Committee receive the report from GasNet to the CCO and ED Committee, April 2025. Do you have a proposer? Thanks, Kate. Seconder? Thanks, Andrew. All those in favour? Let's go. The motion is carried. Thank you. Just call for Matthew to talk for NZICPA.
Thank you. I suppose there's some good news with regard to the NZICPA, which is a bit of a... So we're 38 students ahead of our budget at the moment. So if you remember, that's the key metric that we've been managing and monitoring pretty closely, because that's a key driver of A, the accommodation, and B, flight training. And so we needed to get the student numbers up. So 38 is the current number. 25 of them arrived in the first week of March. And so we now have 141 of our students in our accommodation facilities. You might give some thought that's essentially we've got a few more than we've got beds for, so we've got a couple of them sharing at the moment. So our accommodation is full, and the job now is to ensure that the cohorts are trained on time, so that they leave, the ones who are qualifying out leave on time, so the next slot that we budgeted to come on arrive on time. So you've essentially got a full school. So I think that's a testimony to a lot of planning and a lot of hard work to get us there. Gerard is currently an apology because he is in India. He was going to go up in February and March. It turned out being now. The purpose of that trip is to maintain a strong relationship with Indigo, of course. They're interested in the fact that we're full, we've got our students arriving, and our delivery will now be important. Equally, there's a bit happening in the world, you might be aware. There's a few things happening in America. And so because of that, there's some interest to see if we could take more students. At the moment, that's not we're not in a position to do so because we've got nowhere to house them if we were to have them. But those questions and those inquiry of us from our key partner is interesting to show, the confidence they have in us. So Gerard's up there. There's a number of things he'll be socialising with them. Of course, we have a contract for a period of time. We'll be looking to see what discussions can we have with regard to improving the terms and extending that. Some of these discussions do take time, so that's just a positive thing. And of course, our costs, like everyone in the world, fuel and overhead costs do increase. So, to what stage can you, negotiate the student pricing? So there's a public included report here which talks of the DA42, which Carolyn just mentioned before. Very, very grateful that we've been able to find a plane, and two, that Holdings has paid for it for us. And because that's one of our key constraints, was getting the tuition for the twin aviation or twin plane. That students have access to that, so we now have two of those. Aerocare, which is our little maintenance company. Gerard would be saying here that we're now, I think it's one of the busiest general maintenance facilities in New Zealand, because they do all the 25-hour checks, 100-hour checks and everything else. So that's, to run a good maintenance facility, you need the suitably qualified and qualified engineers with the right ratings, and so we've been fortunate to pick up a couple of additional people with those skills recently. So that's a busy part of the business, and will continue to do so. And there's a bottom of the report here, which is a future outlook. The key aspect now that we've got the students on campus is now ensuring that we are as efficient as we can with regard to their education. Now, there's some things we cannot control, weather, but we can control fleet maintenance, we can control instructor efficiency, rostering. So there's quite a lot of discussion and use of technology currently to ensure an efficient delivery. So it's like running a big school now. It's making sure everyone turns up to class on time and the right subject. So, yeah, maybe happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Matt. Just first question, the DA 42, has that actually been commissioned?
Yes, that was in the air last week.
It was,
Yep. Signed off and
Thank you.
back in fleet.
That's great. Questions? Thanks, Glenda.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great news, isn't it? Regarding the DA 42, so we've got that now, we've got 141 pupils, students. How long, I mean, what's the ratio of students coming in when you have to look at getting another one? Like, how long will that one, will you feel that you're fully,
Currently that's fine with our twin, because if you think a lot of the students do most of their time in a single engine first, and they have to finish off with some twin ratings. So we have two. We have had access to some leased ones while we've been waiting for the second one. So if we needed excess capacity for this particular type of plane at the moment, we would just go and find and lease temporarily to remove bottlenecks.
right, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Councillor Ross.
My question is about AeroCare and your staffing shortages. Now that you've recruited 2 new ones, are you still looking for more staff? Or
Gerard was going at the board meeting. We had quite a discussion about it's not the senior skill set we need now. It's essentially like an apprentice or apprentices. So young people who have an interest in aviation, who are happy to start a trade style certificate and qualification. That would be probably, if Gerard was here, that would be probably where he'd be putting his effort to find that level of skill set development and ultimately some succession.
yeah. And then is the building and facilities big enough to handle the increase in demand if you're the busiest in town?
Yeah, if you go out there into the hangar at the moment, there are a number of planes in either having an oil change or just activity, so we are tight for space, yes.
Okay, I'll leave it at that then.
Thanks, Peter. Andrew.
Thank you, and thanks very much for the report. Interesting that there's interest in additional capacity. Are there efficiencies that could be applied to the accommodation situation to create more accommodation capacity? And if so, even if that were done, are there other capacity constraints not sitting too far behind? I'm guessing aircraft availability and maintenance turnaround, getting more planes in the air more often would be the next cab off the rank there. Just interested in, if there is potential to do more business, what we would need to do to be able to accommodate that.
Sure. To answer your first question, so Gerard and I have had spent some time with the CE over are there any council assets that could help us provide additional accommodation space, and so the CE had connected Gerard with the property team to see if there were suitable assets that could have an accommodation play in that. So, these things take time, but the conversations to use your council assets in that way may be of benefit. The next thing, of course, is having the current fleet of planes that we hold airworthy and in the air or available for flight training, and a couple have had we've been waiting on some parts and waiting on the normal bits and pieces. The additional engineering skill will allow those planes to get up and going. And I think so it's really an efficiency play is the key thing now, and the number of hours that we would expect with good weather. An instructor might have to do a level of flight instruction in a month as an expectation. And at the moment, they're probably doing a B level, and that's probably because pre-COVID we had ramped up and had the culture and the systems and everything designed for a very busy flight school. That's come off. Some of the intellectual property, some of these ones have moved on and had different jobs since COVID. We're ramping back up. You can plan for it. You can put systems around it, but it takes a while to have all the people changing and put in place some training and incentives and get it right. So there's a lot of rostering discussions and efficiency discussions that are occurring now with, we've got 26 instructors. So it's like 26 teachers, and you're trying to get them into a finite number of planes and a finite slots in daylight hours with a normal commercial airport. So there's many moving parts, and that's a key drive at the moment of our senior leadership team, is to improve that productivity.
Thank you. Councillor Charlotte.
Thank you. So just to tease that out and get some clarity on the accommodation to, I guess, what you can achieve in the school ratio. If we did have more accommodation, you could accommodate them within the learning environment.
Yeah, so we're fortunate with, for example, UCOL, we have access to modern teaching environments. In the city, we could find classroom spaces for that. Aircraft movements at the airport, we're not constrained by that for quite some time.
Yeah.
For every 5 students, you need another Cessna or another little plane and some instructors. You could probably find that, or you could buy that. You could go and buy those assets. But at the moment, I think the important thing the boardroom is certainly saying is, it's nice that our key partner is saying, can you take more students? But there's a whole lot of stuff in this big wide world of ours at the moment that are driving some decisions that we are well out of.
Yeah.
But we're taking a view, it's business as usual. We've got the assets, we've got the accommodation. We're very fortunate to have the accommodation and the assets we've got. We've got an airport that's great. We just need to be efficient in what we're doing now.
Gotcha.
And we should be like this for maybe another block of time.
Yeah, sure.
And if we sit here in a 12 months' time and say, actually, we're all sorted as a school and we're hitting NZQA and TEC and all the key indicators, then maybe there's time for growth. But there's no appetite at the moment.
No. Gotcha. Yeah, awesome.
If I can use one word at the moment, it's efficiency. Let's be as efficient as we can with the assets we've got.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Councillor Rob.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, house full sign's a nice one to have up though,
Yes.
and perhaps quite a lot of overseas students private board, and I wonder whether a scheme like that might work. But what I really want to ask though, Matt, is I appreciate that the financial statements are in the public excluded agenda, and I understand the reason for that. But the ratepayers of Wanganui have supported the NZICPA since COVID, and I think that we need to make some statement about the repayment of that support in public. And so first of all, I would like to ask you whether you consider the NZICPA is in a financially profitable position at this point in time. And secondly, the support that has been given to NZICPA since COVID is in the form of a loan. What's the intention of the directors to repay that loan, and when do you see that loan could be repaid?
Okay, so I'll answer your question. Are we profitable right now? Given the accommodation, I can put my hand on my heart today and say we are profitable in accommodation because all the students in the accommodation facilities are full, because the first week of March the last 25 arrived. We have a budget of about 1,600 flying hours a month. Break even flying hours is about 1,600 hours a month, and for the month of March I think we were 1,580. The thing we are getting is we're getting some one-off fixed costs that come along with this. So, for example, we get all the uniforms, all the student uniforms arrive for all the students wear them over a period of time, we incur the cost up front. So there's some costs in our financials at the moment, Councillor, that is going, well, if you were to amortise those appropriately, but right now our financials are saying we are not, we are very close, but we're not profitable yet. As a boardroom, we are very aware that we have a large facility and a large loan balance to our shareholder. And we are grateful, because without that, we wouldn't be here today. And it is not lost on us that that is due for repayment. So as soon as we have a sustainable, profitable business model, 100% ownership is back to the council through holdings company. As cash flow provides, as any normal business director, we will repay loans.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Councillor Jen.
Very,
Okay.
very simple little question. If we're doing all these flying hours, how come we don't hear a lot of planes over Whanganui?
Certain parts of Whanganui have different flight paths. So we do get rung by some members of the community on some streets where it's repetitive flying. Other times, the flights, and Charlie might know better about the circuit we run out there, just where it is and what sort of flying they're doing and where they practice their stalls. I know that's out Westmere. It used to be above Kevin Ross's place. He used to remind me regularly that. So I think it's more stage of circuit. Would that be right, Charlie? Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more questions, I propose we move the recommendation on the board there that the Council-controlled Organisations Economic Development Committee receive the report from NZ ICPA, a board report to this committee, dated April 2025. Oh, sorry, Jenny, do you have a point? Sorry, your second? Thank you. You'll propose. Who will second? Thanks, Andrew. All those in favour?
Excuse me, Jim, can you have a comment, please?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Matt, for the response. And I particularly asked that question because I believe that the public of Whanganui are concerned about the NZ ICPA. And unfortunately, when we are limited in the amount of information that we can give them, a lot of misinformation occurs. And I think it's really important at this particular time that the public understand that all the support for NZICPA, since was necessary through COVID, has been properly accounted for and is due for repayment. And a repayment program, I believe, is in place. Now, I think it needs to be said that this NZICPA is now in a position that it would have been in 3 years ago if it hadn't been for COVID. It is in a financial position that is sustainable into the future. And I commend the directors for seeing this journey through, because it's been very, very difficult for these directors over the last 3 years to keep this flight school afloat. And also commend all of my fellow councillors and the officers of this council who have been unanimous in support for NZICPA over the last 3 years. Yes, it's given us a few sleepless nights, but I think it's paying off, and well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Comment well made, Councillor Rob. Councillor Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'll join in my colleague here and say thank you to all the past directors and the future ones to come. And to our officers who did great financial analysis. 6 months ago, we were sitting here thinking, how can we reduce the break-even cost of 90 students down to 70 so that we don't make a massive loss? And now we're sitting here with 142? Yeah, 142. So the public can take from that quite easily to work it out. I'm really happy. I feel like the councillors, 6 months ago, we were sitting in that room over there worrying what we should be doing. And yeah, the sunk cost analysis and diamond hands. We can now say fully booked. I do worry about step-up costing. I like the approach of efficiency. I'm sure there's more money out there. But after 3 hard years, I'd like to just take some money for the time being. At the same time, the opportunity cost is out there. So I get your view, Andrew, on that. But yeah, I'm really happy that the financial and non-financial benefits are going to be coming to Wanganui, and this is a great case where actually you need to look at the long term of a business assets and not just in the short-term costs. So thank you to all those involved.
Thank you. If there are no... Oh, Mary?
Yeah, mine is across the same theme, actually, and there's a sentence in here that says key financial indicators suggest that cost efficiency measures are yielding positive results, ensuring financial sustainability. You know, we would not have read that a year ago, and so I'm highlighting that point to what is pointing to a really good news story here, and we now need our community to know that. It's been something our community have been asking questions about. We've also done the same as well. And I go back to a bit over a year ago where we were asked to refresh, I was asked to refresh the directors, and made a call at the time to not do that. To see some continuity. So I want to say thank you to Peter and Charlie for continuing that role and taking NZICPA through those difficult times, along with Matt and Peter Ray, who's not here now, but he did a great job as well. Have I missed anyone? Did I say Peter Ray? Did I? Oh, who's that? David Ray. Sorry. Yeah. So I want to acknowledge that, though, because that's a really important point. I think that we've got to this point, and the other one is around accommodation is full in both accommodation centres. Both. That's not just one, but both. So it's has been pointed out. But the other point here as well, you mentioned AeroCare, which is a really busy little maintenance centre. And if you envisage, down the track, we could have a very, from an aeronautical perspective, a precinct there that is a very strong centre for aeronautical services and delivery in New Zealand. And you put that alongside the port as a marine precinct. When we've got a transport and logistics hub that is, I think, really exciting for our future as well. So we combine sea, rail, air, and road. It's going to give us something to help our economic growth in Wanganui as well. So great work, well done. Thank you.
Matt, I think you've heard very positive comments. If there be no more comments, I will. Oh, you will?
If I may, just
yes, of
chip
course.
in it. It's not a small thing, it's a big thing actually. If I recall correctly, Councillor Charlie finished up as a director most recently. Yeah. And at the time, what was the meeting, Matt? Because you spoke to it. It wasn't that long ago. Oh, was it? Last time. All right, well, I'll just say it again, our thanks to, collective thanks, I'm sure, to Charlie for staying the course, and your long history in aviation in Wanganui is well recognised, Charlie. And for me, personally, it's always been a comfort that you were there. You were our eyes and ears on the ground, and you got a bit grumpy about things sometimes, and we knew that that's when you didn't agree, so really appreciate that.
Lovely. Thank you. If there be no further comment, I will put the motion on the screen to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? The motion is carried. Thank you. So we will go to motion to exclude. So the motion to exclude the public, that the public be excluded from the following parts of the proceedings of this meeting, namely the items listed in the table, top of page 35 of the agenda. That Jeff Evans, General Manager of Port Operating Company, Caroline van Leuven, Chair of WDCHL, Lucy Elwood, Director of WDCHL, Mark Peterson, Chair of Wanganui Port Limited Partnership, Matthew Doyle, Chair of NZICPA, Michael Ram, CEO GasNet, and Peter Hazeltine, Chair GasNet, be permitted to remain at this meeting after the public has been excluded. Do we also need to include Wayne Mackay? It is, mates. And Adam, of course. Can we just add Adam's full name in there? Adam Howard Brumby be permitted to remain at this meeting after the public has been excluded because of their knowledge of items 8.1, 8.2, 3, 4 and 5. This knowledge, which will be of assistance in relation to the matter to be discussed, is relevant to that matter because of their positions within Wanganui District Council Holdings Limited, Wanganui Port Limited Partnership at GasNet and NZ's ICPA. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Andrew. Seconder? Thanks, Kate. We'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? The motion is carried. Thank you. We'll just take a 5-minute break just while we switch across.